Prepare yourself for Earthling Entertainment, the perfect blend of paranormal and pop culture, with your host, Joe Wakefield and Ryan Lang.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Earthling Entertainment with Joe Wakefield and Ryan Lang.
Hey, I'm your host from an alternate dimension, Joe Wakefield.
I apparently have a fight next week with Jake Paul. Hi, I'm Ryan Lang.
Hey, that dimension is crazy. So, if you're joining us for the first time, you might be asking, what is it that you do on this podcast? What are you all about? Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you what we're all about. What we do here is a little bit of the spooky, a little bit of the creepy. Sometimes it's cryptozoology. Other times it's hauntings or legends, but it's always spooky. Yes, then we have a segment that's lovingly called Disclosure Discussion. That's all about aliens.
I'm just asking questions. UFO stories, UFO photos, stuff about the congressional hearings that have been happening lately. That's the kind of stuff we like to talk about.
That's right. And then the second part of the show, the latter half, if you will, is all dedicated to pop culture and entertainment. Yeah, sometimes we have movie news. Other times we have little quizzes and games, and that's always fun. We've had celebrity guests. We have audio dramas every once in a while.
Mhm.
We talk, did I say celebrity deaths? A lot of celebrities keep dying.
That's right.
That's right. And news, but it's all pop culture. And then those two parts together, the spooky and the pop culture, come to make the wonderful moon pie of a podcast known as Earthling Entertainment. Welcome.
Welcome indeed. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Absolutely. And guys, hey, honestly, the best way to support the show, if you like what you hear today, please download the episode. We appreciate it. You can download it anywhere you listen to this podcast, and that is Audible, Spotify, what else we have? Apple Podcast, Good Pods. Anything you listen to us on, just hit that download button.
That's what's up. We appreciate it.
Yeah. And if you'd like a bumper sticker, just email us at earthlingentertainmentpodcast@gmail.com.
That's right. And follow us on all of our social medias and stuff like that. But right now we're petting a dog. Pogo's up here with us for the podcast today.
Yes, my dog has a new collar that vibrates when he barks because in his older age and us having a baby, he's become very audible. And it's gotten to the point where we have to do something about it. And it's just meant to train him to not bark as much. But I feel very guilty because he hates it. And he's sitting on the couch next to he's like, just pet me. I need comfort. I don't know what's happening.
Father,
Yeah.
why have you forsaken me?
Pets are a crazy thing, right? We got
Right.
him in 2020. He was a foster fail because we were fostering pets during the pandemic because this great place in LA called I don't remember if it was the dog cafe, the cat cafe. It's not open anymore. But what they did was you'd go there and it was a cafe. You could order coffee or whatever and then play with dogs.
That's wonderful.
And you could adopt those dogs. And so when the pandemic happened and everything shut down, they were like, okay, well, we can't keep paying for rent. All we do is adopt dogs. There's
Yeah.
no point. So it was kind of like, well, where do we shelter these dogs? And so they had people volunteer to watch the dogs. And we alternated like 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. And we fostered a few. But then Pogo was the one we were just like, all right, we're keeping this dog.
Yeah, he's a good boy. And yeah, those things are really cool. I took my kids to the local shelter, the local, whatever adoption center had an event where they had everybody bring out all the dogs. They each had a handler.
Yeah.
And, you kind of get to meet all of them. And it was pretty cool.
Well, hopefully they all got adopted.
I think a lot of them did. I saw a lot of families like sticking with, dogs there, and looked like a few of them found a good forever home, which is great. And I'm really looking forward to the puppy bowl this year.
The puppy bowl
I'm just
for
saying
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
No, that's for the Super Bowl.
Oh, duh.
Yeah.
Yeah. In my head, football and Thanksgiving are all tied together. And since that's coming up, that's where my brain went. But you're right. It's totally for the Super Bowl.
Oh, I'm flipping back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I don't care who's at the Super Bowl.
We're watching the puppy bowl.
Even though I hope it's the Lions at the Super Bowl. I hope it's like the Lions versus the Bills. That's what I'm hoping for.
Sports. Anyways,
back to dogs.
So Pogo, he's also a little bit of my muse here because it turns out that I'm actually writing a children's book. So many, many podcasts ago, at the beginning of the year, I mentioned that this was the year of the novel. This was the year I was going to write the novel. Well, that turned into a few other projects, which is a long form audio drama, which I can't say too much about, but it's going to be a sci-fi, a children's book, like a picture book.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that one's called Pogo's Adventures in Tiny Town.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's all I'm going to mention about that right now. And then we also I have the rights to an old script that I wrote, so I'm going back over it and fixing it up, and we're going to be pitching that at the film conference in LA. So we got a lot going on this year.
Nice. Nice. I don't have a whole lot going on right now, to be honest, other than being here at the podcast and just
He's a host of the show. He doesn't count that.
yeah. I mean that's about it right now. My band kind of disbanded last year. We released our first full length last year and did a ton of music videos with it, and that was a lot of fun. If you want to check them out, it's
Man, there's a
it's
music video for almost every song on your album. I was so impressed.
and thanks you, man. And we had a lot of fun doing it, and we really tried to put a lot of thought into it. Like each video had a concept and everything. We were called a silence. Think asylum and silence, and cram it together at the Y, a silence. So if you ever want to look up our videos, they're all on YouTube. It's all free. We're streaming on everything. So check us out, like some melodic death metal, if you want to do that. But other than that, I don't know. I have aspirations to like be in a new band.
Well,
but
honestly, man, the way I've always seen it is bands are like relationships, and sometimes they end, and there's always a mourning period, and there's always like, well, I don't know if I'll ever do that again. But then one day you find the right band, and next thing you know, you're jamming, and you're doing the music. So just take the ride. Bud.
Well, yeah, my girlfriend's really musically talented, and she plays bass for her band, The Eclectic.
Right on. So
And
maybe a side project could stem from there.
we've talked about it, just like something like it wouldn't be anything crazy. We'd probably white stripes it, where like it would just be the two of us kind of doing it. We'd probably use like I don't care, like a drum machine or something. Like
I think you need to get way into synth.
That
Go
would be
bring
cool.
it, bring it back, man. Bring the 80s back. Do it at the same time that Stranger Things season 5 is coming out, and just ride that like 80s like sound. Just fucking blow the world away.
I'm honestly not even angry at that. There's a lot of times when I'm trying to get shit done around my apartment and whatnot, I put on some just cheesy 80s, like I'll type in like 80s movie, music, and it'll be like all the cheesiest cheesy things. But it's empowering.
It
Makes
is.
you get shit done.
I don't
you
know, man. Maybe it's because subconsciously, because I mean, I was born in '86, so all that weird synth music, like subconsciously, I must have heard when I was very young, right? So it's like I just have an affinity for it now, even though it wasn't, I'm not the '80s kid. I was late '90s, 2000s kid. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But the good old montage always had
Gonna
just
have a montage.
montage.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll just jump right into our first topic, unless you got something else to say.
If you like
I
dogs,
just think that was the smoothest transition
that was
we've
the
ever done.
smooth.
by
That
the
was
way.
the smoothest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was well done. So like, we like dogs, and
And Stranger Things season 5 would be the greatest time for Ryan to redevelop his musical talent in a synth band with his girlfriend.
that's right.
All
That's
right.
right. So that's what we're gonna do. That's the plan. I'm going to be rocking the whole get up and everything.
See,
So-
dude, who needs therapy? Just talk this shit out with me.
dude,
We're
right?
good. We got this.
With total strangers
And
listening.
I'm only
This is-
gonna charge you with annoying things that I say.
That's right, and you do. And
Oh,
you
I
certainly.
know.
That bill always comes.
Yeah, people think this podcast. I mean, you should hear the things that aren't recorded.
You
All
shouldn't.
right,
Actually,
so
you shouldn't.
With that, we're gonna jump into our first segment, which is, of course, spooky stuff. Now, this week's spooky stuff, we have another fun cryptid. We're just on a cryptid roll. We're just doing it. Ryan found this great one. Gave me the research, and I was like, yes, let's jump in. So here is this week's spooky stuff.
The Kalinoro. Kalinoro is a humanoid cryptid said to live deep inside Madagascar. It is claimed these creatures can be found throughout Madagascar, yet encounters with Kalinoro are very rare. Other tribes in other areas of the island agree the Kalinoro exists, but they call them by different names, such as Kotokoi or the Vizimba.
Ooh, I like the Vizimba.
Vizimba.
See, that's just fun to say. The Vizimba.
The Antakarana and Simeti peoples claim the Kalinoro in their region mostly dwells in caverns. According to the people of Madagascar, the Kalinoro have been on the island for more than 2,000 years. When people migrated to the island, the first encounters occurred. Kalinoro are described as small and hairy humanoids with fangs, said to be no more than about 2 feet high.
All right, so a hobbit-like species. That's all
Yeah.
I'm saying. Well, if you believe in evolution, I do, obviously. But if you believe in evolution, we come from a primate species. So if a different primate species that we did not come from is developing into a, bipedal human-like intelligence, then there would be stages like little missing links in their thing. So a standing upright little monkey person that is more human than monkey, I believe it.
I want to say we did have an ancestor that was smaller. It was like a hobbit, like dwarf-like people, and they were like an older version of who we are now.
Yeah, when we were becoming the modern man.
Right. There
yes.
was also Gigantopithecus. I can't even say it.
Gigantopithecus.
Thank you.
Which was more of I think that was just a giant gorilla, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. So their legs are also said to be backwards, with backwards facing feet, with 3 backwards facing toes.
Okay, that's weird because the cryptid last week, the Kahul had backwards facing feet. Ahul.
That's right. Yeah, he had the backwards facing feet as well. And this one,
Vizimba.
and the Kalinoro's eyes also glow red. Their hair and fingernails are both long and unkempt. Living solitary lifestyles, they reportedly eat raw meat and have a whining voice, which scares dogs. Sorry, Pogo. Raw seafood, vegetables, and grain are said to make up the diet of the mysterious Kalinoro. Stories of the Kalinoro vary.
Wait, do they harvest grain or do they steal it?
Probably, I'm guessing they steal it.
Bastards.
So the stories vary. They can be painted as malevolent spirits who will steal children, kill people, or rob them. The Kalinoro in recent times is also associated with alcoholism.
What?
I'm guessing
How does that work?
like maybe in their society, if you're like a drunk, they call you a Kalinoro, like as an insult.
That's
That's the best I got.
Do they elaborate?
I don't know, but I wanted to add that in there. I saw that in the reports I was reading, and I was like, I have to add that in there because that's just weird because that's like a modern thing, right? It's saying now.
But like,
in recent
are they
times.
saying like you drink too much, you turn into a Calinero, or are they
Ooh.
saying a Calinero, if
Is
you're
an
around
alcoholic.
it, could cause you to drink?
Or maybe
more?
that a Kalinoro is like a drunk. Maybe like bars there in Madagascar, if are like using Kalinoro
Yeah,
as
maybe
like,
it's just an insult. I don't know.
or they're using it as like a band, like their banner outside, like a Kalinoro with a drink, like come on in,
like an English pub,
like kind of like
like we're the Fox and the Hound.
That's right.
We're the Calinero in the cup. I don't know.
It's the Kalinoro in the cup. I love it.
Huh.
So, however, they are also seen as loyal servants to their human companions and can take a paternalistic interest in humans.
Well, I don't like that. That feels very house elf from Harry Potter. Which
The-
I'm sorry, those
yeah.
house elves were slaves. Let's just be clear.
Oh, 100%. Poor Dobby.
Poor Calineros.
Poor Dobby. A Sakalava tale has the Kalinoro kidnap children, but only due to perceived mistreatment by their parents. Once the Kalinoro's demands were met, the children were returned. So it's like, no, you're not treating these kids right.
Yeah, but they don't say what the Calinero's demands were. The Calinero's demands could have had nothing to do with the kids. He just takes away because you treat them like shit. What do you want? A Ferrari?
Yes.
How is that going to help my children? I didn't say it was.
It's going to help me get children, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh my God. What would be the motivation if you were mistreating your child to like pay something to get your child back? Because if you were mistreating them bad enough, you just be like, I'm good. Thanks, man. I don't want to deal with that no more.
I guess that's a risk
I don't
that he's
know.
willing to take.
Because people would ask questions, right? Your kid can't just disappear.
Right. It's like, God damn it.
Yeah. I don't know. I like my kid. He just got a haircut. He is adorable. So
Yes.
I think I won't drop him off in the woods like to meet a witch in a candy house. I'll just keep him.
That's a good idea, Joe. Yeah.
Parenting.
You parenting.
Parenting.
Yeah. you probably-
Learning it well here.
Well, and then it reduces your risks of a Kalinoro taking him away.
That is true.
So you have to be a
Fucking
good parent.
house elves.
So be a good parent. So that's your one reason to be a good parent right there. The
Just
Kalinoro.
worried about the Kalinoro
Yeah,
stealing kids.
It's like, oh man, it's like, oh man, you're so good with your kids. Like just some serious conversation at a bench, at a park. Your kids are playing. Oh wow, you're just such a great parent. It's like I'm just terrified of the Kalinoro. What do you mean?
I don't want him to take my kid and I have to explain it, man.
And then I might go to jail. It's like
no one's gonna believe me that I say a Kalinoro took it.
Just who would? Who would? You take one trip to Madagascar, and it haunts you for life.
This got weird. Move on.
Weird. Most of the Kalinoro are said to have great magical powers. The Kalinoro's long hair endows them with almost supernatural strength. Supposedly, their powers are transferable. For some Moses, or herbalists in Madagascar, claim that potions of magical powders impregnated with ground Kalinoro hair provides the user with great mystical powers. Madagascar.
This thing is magic. It's got super strength, and then it's like a 2-foot tall monkey person who eats like raw meat.
Yep. He's got it all, man.
He's got it all. Can he dance, Ryan?
Oh, I bet he can.
It actually says right here. Oh man, he is the finest break dancer. Nice. Well done.
Yep. So Madagascar Mosies they also act as mediums, Joe.
Ooh.
Many work with the spirits of the Kalinoro, whom they claim have great healing powers. The Kalinoro are thought to be spirits of nature. Those who seek the Kalinoro mediums do so because they think they have become cursed by inadvertently trespassing into a region that is sacred to the Kalinoro. See, that's where you got to be careful where you're stepping.
All right. So if something is sacred to the Kalinoro, so that is suggesting that they are intelligent enough to have their own deities and belief structures.
Yep.
All right. Now we're getting real into the whole fantasy aspect of it.
Well,
I'm down. We're going to Madagascar, Ryan. Don't bring your babies.
I was going to say, don't bring the kids. If anything, bring tons of photos. Like, no, I love my kids. I'm so good. Kalinoro are said to act as spirit servants to the living also. They reportedly steal and act as clairvoyants for their human companions, who can also draw on them for healing.
It sounds like they're just familiars.
Like a familiar. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
If a person wishes to purchase the services of a Kalinoro, they traditionally visit the owner's establishment at night and only interact with them through a wall or a closed door.
Yeah, the slave trade is a dark, dark mistress that they do in terrible corners of the world.
It's like
that sounds awful. They're like, if you want to buy this magical creature that'll serve you like a little fucking slave.
Well, I mean, but you don't see it. But
you better not mistreat your kid, because while it is a slave, it could also steal your baby if you mistreat your kid. And it's magic. And here's some Viagra that I made from its hair.
Yeah, but it's saying here that you only deal with the person who owns a Kalinoro. You never actually see it. You're doing it through a wall or a closed door. And here it says, it is said that when the human's voice becomes nasal and high-pitched, the Kalinoro is speaking through them.
What the hell?
So this is so you're going to a person's door and being like, I need to use your Kalinoro. Okay, let me go get him.
Hello.
Yeah, behind the door.
It is me, the Kalinoro. What is it you wish, Joe?
I think this might be the most fascinating thing that we've ever discussed, Ryan.
That's why I love this.
So many angles to this.
People are just using it, so it's like their neighbor's like, oh, I wish to be wealthy. Okay, you must bring me.
But you know what's messed up is at the beginning of this article, you said that it's known by other names, right?
Yeah.
So if this is everything that Kalinaro does, what do those other name things do? It seems like this is just a intelligent, magical creature that does whatever it wants.
Pretty much.
But people attribute behaviors because they're trying to classify it like an animal, where
Mhm.
it's like it eats here, it hunts here, it behaves like this. But if it is an intelligent creature, then it would do whatever it wants and you wouldn't be able to classify it as easily. So maybe that is the explanation for all of these things. We straight up found like a fairy, like not like the Disney version of like a tiny person with wings, but like we found a fucking magical creature and we're just trying to put it in a box, Ryan. We shouldn't put it in a
Yeah.
box.
You got to be careful because this is a wild box because Kalinoro are wild dudes. So the Kalinoro are also said to impart taboos to people via their dreams or via visions. So you can give your enemies
Just-
bad dreams.
You're laying down and just walks up with like whispers in your ear. Have sex with your cousin.
Oh my God.
Like what? Oh my God. He's putting a taboo in my head. I mean, it says he puts taboos in their head.
I guess. Yeah, that's
Okay.
one hell of a taboo, Joe.
I'm just saying.
So, according,
Like Ryan's not like, I don't know how to continue that conversation.
I don't.
Moving on.
I don't.
The key is you find something else that would be a taboo. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, eating monkey brains. Like, it
Yeah.
didn't have to be weird and creepy, Ryan. You could have used your imagination. I'm just saying. All
You
right,
halted me. You
now
gave
we
me a-
can move on.
Yeah. So, according
Amateur.
to Travel
Amateur.
Africa magazine, Eloy saw his first Kalinoro in a rice paddy behind his village and describes it as a little man less than a meter tall with hair all over his body and long fingernails. They can apparently be lured by the irresistible smell of frying pistachio nuts.
Huh.
But attempts to catch them are usually unsuccessful because their feet point backwards and hunters invariably track them in the wrong direction.
I guess unless you've seen one, because if you've seen one, you'd be like, oh, its feet are backwards.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
In
So just shitty hunters, I guess.
I guess so. Yeah, they were not very observant.
You know what's weird is they did that in Prohibition. They made these weird shoes that you could rotate the
Mhm.
bottom, the sole of the shoe to make and then walk to make it look like you were going in a different direction.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That is
To
cool.
hide from Johnny Law.
That's right. I want to make a pair so that it has like Bigfoot feet or like insanely large, like dog paw feet, and walk
Ooh.
around everywhere with that, and everyone will just think that there's a gigantic wolf everywhere.
See, my first instinct would be Bigfoot, but then I would feel bad because I would be like, I don't want to mislead people because I want them to actually find Bigfoot. So, a giant wolf, that's a good one. I like that.
That would be good.
I'd really confuse someone and do something like a giraffe.
Yeah.
Just like the really weird animal. To just be like,
like there
what
is
the hell?
evidently a gigantic giraffe around. Like the giraffe are already pretty big, but this one's like fucking huge. Like you make it like that. Its paws are like.
Oh, dude, it would be impossible to do that though because you'd have to like how much weight that animal would be. The imprint wouldn't be deep enough. You'd have to pick an animal that's closer to your weight.
just on a muddy day. Like you're just always sitting around waiting for it to rain. Like today's.
Today's the day. I trick everyone with my giraffe feet.
It's like. Can you take out the garbage? Can't, hun. Got to put on my giraffe feet.
You've been saying that for 30 years. I've been waiting for the time.
Today's the day. Don't hold me back.
You knew this when we got married.
You knew this day was coming.
Just like a weird condition that was in the vows. Like, yeah,
Yes.
he's got a good job. He's got 401k. He's nice to me. He's great with the kids. But fuck, he says like he's got to spend every Saturday looking out the window waiting for the perfect rain. I don't know what it's about, but I guess I'll let it go. Well, you know what? Chickens come to roost.
That's right. That's right. And he does it like in a weird area that doesn't get discovered, but then he's on his deathbed, and one day there is a news article where it's like, there have been discoveries of large giraffe prints thought to be from, thousands of years ago, just discovered in blah, blah, blah park. And he's just like, yes,
Yes,
it worked.
But unlike what people want, usually you're not the myth you want to be. You're not the legend you want to be. It was actually his son who was dealing with the abandonment issues of his father leaving him to do this giraffe plan, where he grew up thinking, I need to understand the man who sired me. So he himself did it, but he did it one step further and found a woolly mammoth body and made woolly mammoth shoes. And he became the legend. Mammoth Dog. Dun-dun, bringing it back.
Back to the mammoth. Back to the mammoth.
All right, we got to
2028.
stop. This has been a nonsense like roller coaster we've been on, man.
I enjoy it. So let's jump back into 1889. A capture.
Oh, you mean way back?
Yeah, a capture was reported to the Royal Geographical Society. And in 1924, Chase Salmon Osborne described a Kalinoro sighting that he assumed must have been a honeymoon couple because they were making love by a campfire.
I mean, they could just be a healthy couple.
Right? Despite their human traits and telepathic abilities, Kalinoro
What?
are considered animals.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's racist.
That's speciest.
Well, that's xenophobic. That's actually probably the actual word, xenophobic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in a 1964 article, the author Basil Kirtley asserted that the Kalinoro were dwarfish creatures. He compared them to the European legends of elves and trolls that stole food, replaced human children with their own children, and generally caused mischief and mayhem.
Dude, that's what I've been saying since the beginning, is that they were little elf like fairies.
I agree with that.
Okay, so I nailed it.
The natives
10
of
points to
Madagascar
Gryffindor.
roundly reject that description, however. The natives of Madagascar say no to that. Professor Joe Hobbs of the University of Missouri Columbia's Department of Geography studied them while he was with the local tribes in the Ankarana Special Reserve, Madagascar. On May 15, 2000, when Hobbs wrote his report, he talked of how the people of the village of Ambalakedi consider Andorabora Cave sacred because on 3 separate occasions, most recently just 2 years ago, grief-stricken parents whose children had wandered into the forest had recovered them alive there after food was left out for the Kalinoro in exchange for their children's return.
All right, fair enough.
In 2006, at Cryptomundo, Lauren Coleman reported that a U.S. Navy SEAL unit encountered a group of strange apes in the Democratic Republic of Congo. According to Lauren, the information came from a reliable source and fit in with the area's history of weird cryptids. A drawing by Harry Trumbore was illustrated for the book The Field Guide to Bigfoot by Lauren Coleman and Patrick Hugh, and depicted the Kalinoro, a short, 3-toed, bipedal, water-dwelling, mean, scruffy hair humanoid.
Water dwelling?
Yeah, that's what it says, water-dwelling.
That's a new piece of information.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It seems like everything we talk is just like another thing attributed to this. So that's why I jumped to like super different dimension fairy kind of thing.
Right, because it said generally they lived in caves.
Yeah. And caves of water in it? It's the
Maybe.
leprechaun
I guess
Garth.
yeah. Whoa, stop it, Wayne. Apparently, they are known. So that is how they are known to in tribes of Madagascar. Was that description?
Yeah.
From the blog post, I've learned through a confidential source that at least one unit of the U.S. Navy SEAL has had a remarkable recent encounter with unknown apes in Africa, and a video was taken. We are seeking additional confirmation and other eyewitnesses. Have any hints of the story come your way? He asks. What the former SEAL relates is that he was involved in covert operations in the Democratic Republic of the Congo between 1997 and 2002. According to his account, his team observed a group of 13 chimpanzee-like creatures. This says between 4.5 to 5 feet tall, uniformly gray all over their bodies with rows of seemingly porcupine-like quills running the lengths of their backs. The unidentified apes walked bipedally and were observed by the SEAL team in the act of killing another animal.
Okay, well, that just sounds like a completely different creature, unless these are the adult version of the Calamaro and the other witnesses just all children versions.
That's a possibility, right? Because the other one only said 2 feet. So,
I mean, also, you could just be, like you just saw a small one. I mean, if you only have one witness to go by, then I don't know.
Yeah,
or it's a completely different animal.
I was going to say, yeah, who knows? Maybe it's just another cryptid. When the creatures became excited or agitated, the quills or spines stood erect from their bodies. According to this informant, the U.S. Navy SEAL team took 3 minutes of video footage of these creatures, but this tape, Joe, apparently has been classified. All the tribes of the island of Madagascar, located off the east coast of Africa, know of the Kalinoro. And now, so do you.
Wow,
So-
what a hodgepodge of stuff.
There was a lot going on there, and I mean, but this is a legend that's been going on for over 100 years, right? The first thing was in 1889. So I mean, think about the telephone game since then. So that's where you get all these different things, and if it is just some kind of crazy mystical creature, of course it's going to be just doing different shit and whatnot, messing with people. And this is Madagascar. It's just, it's just an island, and it's just a big ass island. Like,
Well,
who
you know
knows?
what I'm thinking is the fact that they have areas that the creature finds sacred. Because then it's like, all right, you're going to call this thing, we're going to classify it as an animal, but it has some belief structure where it finds things sacred? Or is that just a word we chose and they're just territorial? Because like a lion will have a territory, and if you go into his territory, he's going to kill you. But that doesn't mean that area is sacred to him.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So it's like, was that just a poor word choice? Or are we saying, because the whole belief in anything bigger than you outside of yourself, or even thinking in those terms, is like a sign of like being self-aware.
Yeah, and I think it just has to go along with the legend. I think it's just a legendary thing. It's an old legend. Like I said, it's been kicked around for a long time. It's basically sounds like this is their Bigfoot in a way.
Kinda. I would like to go to Madagascar and check it out. I mean, there's a lot of places I want to travel to, and eventually I will. No, seriously. I mean, if you want to join me, that's great. But we've talked before that you don't really want to do that. But if I'm gonna go to all these places to find
It
crazy
depends.
cryptids, and the first thing we should do is like hauntings, because we're right next to Eloise Asylum, and I guarantee, I mean, it's going to cost money, but if we hit them up and we're like, we want to do a podcast in Eloise Asylum at night, they'd be like, okay, whatever, here's to give us money and go for it.
I mean, I imagine that would be a thing, right? We could probably look into that.
I mean,
that's something to look into.
It depends on what
Let's
we
get the
want.
team on that shit.
Exactly. Trevor,
God damn it, Trevor.
email us or email them and then tell us what they emailed back. Email
That's right.
the mail through the electronic.
It's like,
Yes.
and Lizzie, however we can help you, please let me know.
Yeah. Yes, the executive producer of the show is my wife, so
That's right,
we're
that's
telling
right.
Trevor to do everything.
It's like, and we love her. She's so good to us. Like she feeds us all the time. Like, she really loosens this chain for me when I ask.
Well, you keep trying to escape, you get the chain. It's
It's like-
pretty clear, Ryan.
It's like, you proved you can't be trusted. It's like, you're right.
You could be hobbled like Kathy Bates. Yeah, Stephen King reference, man.
Oh God.
Oh, there you go.
Oh God.
Anyways, well, to be fair, it was Kathy Bates what she did to James Caan, to be clear.
That's right. That's right.
And with that was our this week's spooky stuff. Another cryptid. Yeah, a lot of fun. And we're going to jump into our next segment, which is...
Disclosure discussion. Ha 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 ha. It's about aliens and stuff.
NASA should join search for UFOs. Former NASA leader tells Congress. This comes to us from Forbes.com. As Congress investigates extraordinary claims that extraterrestrials have sent super speed spacecraft into the Earth's skies, a one-time NASA leader testified the American Space Agency should join the search for UFOs around the world. Mike Gold, formerly NASA's Associate Administrator for Space Policy, told the House of Representatives that NASA should play a pivotal role in mapping the flights of suspected UFOs and helping track down their origins. The House this week convened a televised hearing reviewing incredible reports of potential UFO sightings by U.S. military and civilian pilots, titled Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Exposing the Truth.
Exposing the truth.
This hearing is intended to help Congress and the American people to learn the extent of the programs and activities our government has engaged in with respect to UAPs and what knowledge it has yielded. That includes, of course, any knowledge of extraterrestrial life or technology of non human origin, said Nancy Mace, chair of the House Subcommittee on Cybersecurity, upon opening the hearing.
And this is exciting because last week we were talking about this hearing. We said it was going to happen, and it actually happened the day after the podcast. It was funny when I was releasing the episode. The first day it was like, this is happening soon. Then the second day was, this is happening now. And then there's
Yep.
posts where it's like, this just happened.
Yep.
So top notch stuff, because of course NASA should take a leadership role in tracking these UFOs for the simple fact that they've been doing it longer than anyone else, at least in this country. So, of course, they have the resources and the know-how that could help move this along.
But are they allowed to?
Dun,
You know
dun,
what I mean? They
dun.
are a government program, so I mean there are certain things they're allowed and not allowed to do. And this is what I don't understand. They always say the problem with why we haven't really, it's been taking so long to get back to the moon was that public interest had waned, and therefore money, there wasn't the money, that was there for the Apollo projects. But it's like, if you guys could just show us proof, like real proof, like finally give us a real video, like a good one, not a grainy one that you fuck up and then release.
Well,
Not
you're,
like, give
you're
us-
assuming that the government has lied to us from the beginning, which, by the way, that's
Always.
kind of what our show's about.
Yeah,
so
always.
I'm with that. But I'm just saying, hypothetically, they've been on the level with everything. It's like, well, fuck. What do we get? How do we get people interested? This is how colonization. You make a moon motel, you get the public interested. If the public, if rich ass people think they can go to the moon to like a Four Seasons, that would get the public's interest. Can you imagine that? A reality show that takes place on a Four Seasons type moon base. Ooh, screw that. That should be a TV show. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Think about that, man. We
I
could
mean,
make it. We
yeah.
could make an artificial like sandals resort on the moon with a dome and just have it be like the Love Boat. And we'll just be like we'll call it Over the Moon. Over the Moon. I'm over the moon for you.
One with the dome within a dome.
Then we get the 3 storylines of romantic couples, and they intertwine with
That's right.
our bartender and our commander, and we'll totally steal shit from Deep Space Nine because they've already dealt with how do you do a space station that doesn't move. Well, diplomatic relationships, it's not important. What are we talking about again? Oh, right, the real life congressional hearing. Continue.
Yes. So, with witnesses at the hearing recounting tales of extraterrestrial flyers whizzing through American airspace and of U.S. defense commanders trying to hide these flights by stigmatizing those who viewed them, the scenes that played out inside the Capitol could one day be transformed into a new episode for the cult TV hit The X-Files.
Robots in disguise.
What?
What is because it be transformed? It's not important.
that I wasn't seeing that one coming. I didn't see it coming. The truth is out there, Joe. Gold told the House, stealing a line from the X-Files. He called on Congress to step up funding so that NASA could deploy its ground and space-based telescopes, astrophysicists, and spaceflight wizards, and links with scholars engaged in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence to launch a powerful, all-out campaign to track unidentified flying objects. Luis Elizondo, a one-time intelligence officer who helped run one of the Defense Department UFO tracking units, but later split with the Pentagon to write a book on these once-secret operations, told Congress, UAP are real. Advanced technologies not made by our government or any other government are monitoring sensitive military installations around the globe. The U.S. government, he added, has captured and reverse engineered some advanced alien UAP technologies. Although much of my government work on UAP subjects still remains classified, excessive secrecy has led to grave misdeeds against loyal civil servants, military personnel, and the public, he declared, all to hide the fact that we are not alone in the cosmos. A video of the UFO hearing posted on YouTube has already been viewed at the time of this article 380,000 times, and I'm sure that's gone up quite a lot more. So what do you think, Joe, as you're over there? Joe's over here scribbling on the alien right now, making him look funny.
No, I'm taking notes, but thank you, Ryan. What do I think? I think it's great that we're having these discussions again. I just hope something comes of it, because the more and more people that come forward to give like actual credible information is what moves the needle. Because I hate to say it, but like Elizondo, for instance, he's been on the History Channel a bunch. He's done shows. He's been an outspoken person for a while. So much so that now he's become like George Tsoukalos. He's become like the
Yeah.
Ancient Alien guys, to the point where anything he says, the people who blow it off are just blowing it off, because he's an alien celebrity guy. He's no longer credible. So I think he's credible. Don't misunderstand. I'm just saying
Right.
the average public, they see him more of as like a TV guy. So you get more actual new people who've worked for the government or NASA coming out and saying these things. The more diverse, the more decorated, the more diverse positions they come from. This is what you need, because eventually you get a crowd of unrelated people and you're like, oh, okay, well, this is a lot of credibility to throw out the window.
And that's true. I like that NASA is a dude who was in NASA. He's not anymore, but the fact that he was in NASA, he's speaking out. I like that. Anybody credible on the subject is wonderful. I like that we had the hearing. I watched most of it, but unfortunately, it always seems to have the same result, which is I can't disclose that at this time. Like with every question, it's like yes, but I cannot. Like they're always like, can we see a photo? A video, and he's like, I can't disclose that at this time, but yes, we do have it.
It's rough, right? Because it's like, well, look, guys, I'm telling you as much as I can where they won't shoot me in the head at night.
Which is crazy. Which is crazy still. I can't it just makes me so mad, Joe. I want to know. I know they've got it. I know they've got the right videos. I know they've got
Okay, so
proof.
At this point in your life, being mid-30s, you probably are never gonna know. But you could train your children to work hard and become government agents under the only stipulation, like, look, this is not an espionage thing. This is nothing terrible. I just personally want to know. The only thing you need to do is just tell me. Just tell me, so I die knowing. Okay. All right, guys. Speaking of a whole different topic, this week we have another news segment. Now, this segment may come back here and there, but really it was just because I wanted to cover this story and I couldn't think of where to put it. So we've made the news segment, which we lovingly call
Real World Weird.
Dozens of escaped hamsters ground airliner. This comes to us from coasttocoastam.com. Workers at a Portuguese airport were forced to become hamster hunters after dozens of the critters escaped the cargo hold of a plane, which caused it to be grounded for several days. According to a local media report, the weird incident came to light last Tuesday when an Airbus 320 landed at the Ponta Delgada airport on the island of São Miguel in the Azores. As baggage handlers removed the cargo from the aircraft, they were stunned to discover that over 130 hamsters had managed to find their way out of a container that was part of a shipment from a pet store.
See, now this are the stories. These are the important stories that people want to know about, Ryan.
Out of concern that the curious critters would damage critical wires aboard the plane by way of their voracious nibbling,
Num 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 wires.
airport officials promptly grounded the Airbus. Over the course of what one imagines were 4 painstaking days, all but 16 of the hamsters were recovered. So there's still 16 out there.
And you know what? Those intelligent hamsters found their way to a rose bush, and we have their own secretive NIM going on.
And to this day, I hear that they have their own airline system now. And
Miss Brigsby?
that's right. So workers reportedly rounded up the remaining rodents on Saturday, allowing the plane to fly back to Lisbon, where the $105 million airliner will be inspected to ensure that the diminutive creatures had not done any unseen damage to its inner workings. Like, that would suck to die because of a hamster.
All right, so I have a lot of questions. So one, the pet store. Okay, so are you legally responsible for the damage to the plane, or is it the people who packed the hamsters? Like, who packs animals? Like, are the people who own the animals, or do you go to a facility and be like, here, I have 150 hamsters, pack them up and ship them out?
I'm guessing there has to be some kind of insurance between the shipping company and the airliner.
Okay, well, do you have insurance on the hamsters? Like, let's say once again, you're the pet store. That's a lot of hamsters. That's a lot of profit. All right. So they all went running around. Did he get the hamsters back? They said they caught all but 16. Now, what does that mean? Are they shooting little hamsters? Was it just like, all right, bag boys, here's a bunch of BB guns, go hunting? Or was it like, all right, we'll put down humane traps and we'll let them go in the woods? Because that person clearly doesn't know where hamsters are from. Which brings me to my next topic. Where are hamsters from, Ryan?
I want to say hamsters come from because I know guinea pigs come from New Guinea.
They come from Peru for sure.
So I want to say around there, right? Because that's like where
I don't know.
the cute little rodents kind of tend to live is in that area.
I think
I don't
that's
know.
very assumptuous based on one thing. But then again, you had guinea pigs growing up, so
I had a thing for
you
guinea
might be a
pigs. I like
guinea pig
pigs.
genius.
Yeah, they were pretty adorable. I'm not gonna lie, they're cool. I like a guinea pig. I like guinea pig. They eat guinea pigs now. Like, but
Wait,
like that
who
shit.
eats guinea pigs?
People eat guinea pigs. They
Oh,
eat guinea
no.
pigs. But for real, it makes you wonder because hamsters and gerbils and guinea pigs no longer they don't exist in the wild. So what if
But that can't be true, right? It's kind of I think
they're
about
only pet stores? I swear to God.
I think about cows like that. Like, do obviously not in the United States, I don't think, except if you count Buffalo and Yellowstone. But no, other places, there's just roaming cows. So there's got to be roaming hamsters.
I don't think so. I really don't think so.
Hold
And
up.
yeah,
Keep talking.
yeah. So yeah, look that up because I'm almost certain so I'm just laughing that if what I'm saying is correct, then what if this is the beginning of like the first like gerbil like hamster like colony in the wild? Like it started with those 16. They got off and like you said, they got off to a rose bush there.
Well,
And-
dude, that's what I meant. Like full on secretive Nim. Yes, there are wild hamsters
are?
living in Europe and Asia.
I am shocked. I really didn't think that was a thing.
We weren't even right about the South America thing.
No, we weren't.
Apparently, Ryan, you don't know dick about hamsters.
I don't know dick about fuck, Joe.
Oh my god. I'm gonna make a shirt now that'll say Earthling Entertainment, and on the back will be like Ryan doesn't know hamsters.
I don't know shit about hamsters. You know,
Right.
it's true. But what a strange thing to see just a wild hamster skitter by.
I mean, I guess it'd be like a field mouse. I've been in farming communities.
they
That sounds
still
so
be
weird.
all-
I've been on a farm where there was like wheat and stuff, and I've seen like little field mice.
Would they still be all like gold and cute and fluffy or would they be all dirty and like nasty looking, like
Oh man,
feral?
they're totally road warrior hamsters.
Yeah, dude.
They're little bastards. I can't imagine that they're like
Wearing bondage.
yeah, because like when you see a wild dog, it's not like a poodle.
Right.
I'm just saying
Right.
it's a rough. That dog's lived.
And-
He's had to live in a world created by man and not for him.
Now
So
I'm
these
just
hamsters,
I'm
man.
just imagining, just a Mad Max world of hamsters over there, like, because they're fucking mean. I've never met a hamster that anybody was like, "Oh, he's so friendly." It's like, no, that motherfucker will bite you.
I would never really had a hamster bite me. I've had hamsters poo and pee on me when I picked them up, but I've never, which makes sense because you are literally like a giant. And what is their animal brain saying? Fuck, this thing's gonna eat me, right? They're like, I'm being picked up because it's going to eat me.
This is it.
The idea of like a hamster having a nervous breakdown is really funny to you.
It is insanely funny to me. It's terrible. I know. It's terrible.
I really want to meet the person because you know there's one out there who just loves hamsters so much.
Oh,
Like, you
yeah.
know how people do like weird cat stuff? Imagine a guy who's got those hamster tubes crawling all around his house where he's drilled holes through walls and other places so they can crawl everywhere. And there's just every room is lined with like hamster pipes. And he just has lots of hamsters.
That would be funny. My brother, his kids got hamsters, and yeah, they got all the crazy tubes and stuff. It like goes into like a whole different
Yeah.
It's not that crazy, but yeah, I could see that. Like, didn't Weird Al have that for Harvey the Wonder hamster in his show? He had the tubes going all the way around like the whole place. And
I would have to assume you're right. I have no memory of the Weird Al show.
Yeah, it was the Weird Al show. It was and I just remember that's where Harvey the Wonder hamster, hey Harvey, came from. And yeah.
Yeah, see, we weren't gonna buy all those the hamster tubes and stuff. We had a hamster ball, so it could like run around. And it was funny because it would just, not get the concept that it was little and couldn't, but because it was in the ball, couldn't go through like holes or under things. So we just had this hamster that kept getting pissed off trying to like get under doors and things. It was a really sad ending to that. Is this hamster was running around the dining room and it like rolled and then went down the basement. So it bounced down the stairs like in the ball all the way down. And I swear to God, that hamster lived for another 3, I don't know. It felt like 3 years. It could have just been a year, but it lived for a while after that. So I don't think it was permanently damaged, but it would like occasionally just act weirder. It would like walk in a circle and weird things like that. And I just thought, man, this hamster has like really deep PTSD. I never put him in the ball again. I felt terrible. I mean, even at like 11, I'm like, this is awful.
Well, that's good. At least you didn't have to put him back in the ball again. Just one day, the floor will just fall out from under me.
And it's funny because over the years, the image of it has gotten worse and more cartoony.
Yes.
So now it's just like complete with sound effects of just like, oh God,
It's happening.
And I imagine being in the ball and having like 0G, just kind of like you're Tom Cruise filming a thing for one of your next Mission Impossible movies where you have that plane that goes up in the atmosphere so you could be weightless for like 30 seconds. I imagine that was the experience. So maybe it was actually enlightening for him, and that hamster's life was just changed forever when he thought of what the world and the universe could be.
And just imagine.
And then it hit its head.
Yeah, and then imagine just its world once it was done. Once you got to the bottom, and you're just spinning. And it's just like, where am I?
It'd be really weird is to find out that like I've just made up like the hamster was okay after this. Like I've just blocked out the memories. And then you have like hamster cops knock on my door and be like, so on your podcast, you finally talked about what happened to little Roofies. Let's figure this out.
Little Roofies.
We call this a murder. I don't
my
remember
God.
I don't remember the hamster's name, so I said Little Roofies. I think I was gonna say Rufus.
Rufus?
Yeah.
Little
No,
Rufus.
the hamster's name was Goro because
Goro.
Mortal Kombat just came out. It was 1995.
That tracks.
Yeah.
So
oh my God, so that means I was like 7 or 8.
So you're implying that hamsters have their own legal system?
You're not?
I
There
guess
are wild hamsters in Asia. You telling me they don't have lawyers?
that's true.
Okay.
So now you're in trouble, and like they're gonna take you away. They have human-sized handcuffs and everything.
Oh, can you imagine if you were in a world with anthropomorphic animals that arrested other anthropomorphic animals? They would have to have different size handcuffs.
They would.
That's something Zootopia 2 should tackle.
I think they did.
Oh.
I want to say so.
Oh, good for you, Disney.
That's right.
All right, so moving on.
Fucking hamsters are coming for Joe.
Did you think we would talk this long about hamsters on this podcast this week, Ryan?
I'm generally concerned for your safety. What if it's like really
Because
tough?
I'll be implicated in a hamster murder.
Dude, what if it's like a really bad
Could you
hamster
imagine
jail?
going to hamster jail? Yeah, exactly. Now, here's the
Yeah.
question. Do they accommodate for my size, or am I just in these awkward positions forever? Hopefully, I get the same a proportionate amount of food, and I don't get like a hamster amount of food.
But you're gonna have to eat pellets.
As long as I get a full plate of pellets, Ryan.
Yeah, they'll give you pellets. You'll have that little water bottle in the corner with a little water bead with a little metal bead in it, so you can.
Oh my God. I just thought of like the Shawshank Redemption, right? Like I'm going to get out 20 years later of hamster jail and someone's going to come see me. And instead of me being hung myself like Brooks was here, they're going to come into the room and it's going to be the tiny little hamster sized noose that has broken because that's what I tried to use to hang myself. And then above it, it'll just be like Wakefield was here. But I'll be choking on the ground because you can't hang yourself with a hamster noose, Ryan.
Right. Yeah, they conditioned you to think like by the end of it he really thought he was a hamster.
He became a hamster.
He became a hamster.
Full tusk. Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Yes. Yeah. Eating that fish. Just
we really got to quit talking about this now.
Calling all comic fans, it's time to feed your brain at Green Brain Comics, where the freshest new issues, graphic novels, and manga hit the shelves every week. Whether you're looking for the hottest new series or the latest small press sensation, we've got it all. Every genre for every age. Green Brain Comics is your one-stop shop for all things graphic storytelling. Got questions? Our friendly staff knows their stuff. Whether you're a longtime fan or new to the world of comics, we've got recommendations that'll keep you coming back for more. And don't forget to check out our special events. Green Brain Comics is not just a store, it's a community. Located in East Downtown Dearborn, we are at Green Brain Comics on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Shop online at greenbraincomics.com, and remember to feed your brain at Green Brain Comics.
Earthling Entertainment Special Report. Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese will executive produce a 10-episode Cape Fear TV series for Apple TV+. Number 2, Lady Gaga has just been cast in Wednesday Season 2. Number 3, Conan O'Brien will host the 97th Oscar Award ceremony. Whoa. This has been an Earthling Entertainment Special Report.
And with that,
Music mumbles.
Liam Payne's death. 3 people detained. 1 person's home raided. This comes to us from Variety.com. Police in Argentina have detained 3 persons of interest and raided the home
Stop.
of...
just start over.
Okay.
I need a pause.
You got me?
No, I got distracted. Just give me a sec. So, I'm just gonna point to you and we're gonna jump in. Do you add a P?
I'm okay.
All right. So, I just fucked myself up. So I'm gonna point to you in 5 seconds.
You got it. Liam Payne's death. 3 people detained. 1 person's home raided. This comes to us from Variety.com. Police in Argentina have detained 3 persons of interest and raided the home of one said to be acquaintance of Liam Payne in connection to the former One Direction member's death. ABC World News report authorities detained 2 hotel workers in addition to a friend posing as Payne's manager. Payne had allegedly spent time with the latter before his death on October 16th. The pair of hotel workers are being accused of supplying Payne with the narcotics found in his system after he fell from the 3rd floor of the Casa Sur Palermo Hotel in Buenos Aires. He was 31 years old.
Really sad.
Dude, yeah. La Nacion identifies Payne's friend as a businessman and accuses him of abandoning him since he failed to tell Payne's family that he was struggling and using drugs. A preliminary toxicology report released by the National Criminal and Correctional Prosecutor's Office confirmed he had pink cocaine.
All right, so hold on. I've never heard of pink cocaine before this. It's like a hodgepodge. Check it out, man.
A recreational drug typically made up of MDMA, ketamine, and methamphetamine in his body at the time of death.
So this is what I don't get. MDMA is it's ecstasy, right? So
Right.
it's like you're getting your groove, you're feeling,
that's the
you're feeling
upper.
good, right? That's yeah. And meth is an upper, but ketamine is a downer. It's a tranquilizer, right?
I honestly don't know much about it. I know it's it's strangely become popular in like the past 10 years. Like I hear about it all the time. Like
I
people
think
use
ketamine
it.
was Special K, which I thought was like cat tranquilizer. That was the joke, right?
Isn't this what took out the dude from Friends? He took ketamine and drowned in the
Well, yeah. I
You
mean,
know.
you don't want to take a downer and then get into water.
right.
But that being said, to me, it feels like I'm not taking pink cocaine. I'm just saying it feels like it would counteract itself, right? A little bit. Like you're taking an upper and a downer. So you're lazy and you can't move, but your heart is racing. No wonder he jumped off a fucking
I was
building.
so he was like extremely hyperly depressed.
Apparently.
Like, well, that's the thing is the drug didn't kill him. The fall did.
That doesn't seem like a good time. I mean, back in the early 20s when I was doing fun things, that to me doesn't sound like a fun time. I don't know why you'd. Ugh.
One at a time,
One-
one at a time.
One at a time, but always pick your moments. Also, at 31, you probably should be done partying that hard.
Yeah, but I mean, this guy, he lives a life that we would never understand.
That's
you know,
true.
Like,
That guy probably had more sex in his 31
Oh my
years than
God.
either one of us will if we live to be 150, Ryan.
around the world, sir. My man, One Direction, they were huge, right? They were
Yeah.
enormous.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, anybody he wanted, like seriously, man, woman, black, white, upper, downer, like left, right, it'd be a Dr. Seuss book of sex, Ryan.
And he was, and he was an artist. That's always a suffering artist inside of every good artist. I heard he was the one that wrote most of the hits. So the dude was talented. That's gotta suck when your career kind of the band breaks up, his career kind of tanked. Like, he was doing okay at his
I
social.
mean, he was doing a lot of things, but everyone has their demons.
Yeah.
I was criticized very much when I've said some comments in the past about people who have killed themselves, who were celebrities. And I've come around to understanding a little bit more that, like, it doesn't matter where you come from. Your demons, your demons.
Yeah.
People find dark places, even
Mhm.
if they're coming from a place that you might consider very privileged.
They're just another human having a human experience in their own way.
And it's all about perspective. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. So it says here now, back to Liam Payne's death, 8 homes have been raided in relation to the 3 defendants in the case. A 9th raided location was the room of one of 2 women said to have been with Payne hours before his death. Police seized 9 cell phones, 3 computers, 2 hard drives, and a jar of marijuana, per the newspaper.
Feels like a jar of marijuana is just a hat on a hat at that
Oh,
point. Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, who cares?
and he
And,
had a
yeah.
bottle of aspirin.
Like, yeah, right? I mean, at this point, right? Public prosecutor Andres Madria also recently confirmed to the BBC that Payne's body was released to his family on November 6th after being held in Argentina, while local authorities completed further toxicology and laboratory tests.
That's got to be rough, man. You lose someone close to you and you can't even like bury them because they're, in a situation like that.
Yeah, it says here in the days following his death, each of the One Direction members shared personal tributes to Payne, as did the band as a whole. In time, when everyone is able to, there will be more to say, the band said. But for now, we will take some time to grieve and process the loss of our brother, who we loved dearly. The memories we shared with him will be treasured forever. For now, our thoughts are with his family, his friends, and the fans who loved him alongside us. We will miss him terribly. We love you, Liam.
Yeah, this is a weird music mumbles, but because obviously his association with music, I didn't want to put it on well now they're dead because we already covered that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But no, it's good to know now that you're seeing credibility, right? Like with
Not credibility, accountability.
thank you, accountability. Because that's important. You know what I mean? Like when you're dealing with someone that is, I get it. You're not they're doing the stuff. It's a weird line, right? But
Well,
I mean,
I am a firm believer that if you're seeing someone struggling that hard, that you're not an asshole for hitting up their mother or father or brother and saying, "Hey, I think you need to try to get him into rehab or something." So the businessman, the so-called friend, who was posing as his manager, so right there it sounds sleazy.
yeah.
Didn't inform anyone that he was struggling so hard. So it's just a fine line of accountability. You know what I mean? Because we don't know all the details. And while on the surface, I agree, it does seem like he was very neglectful and self-serving.
That's what I was gonna
It's
say.
tough to say.
Like, was he just a paycheck to him? He wasn't even thinking really about his well-being.
Well, a businessman. That's what they say. So he
Yeah.
literally could be like anybody. So riding the wave of somebody else's fame. I hate to say it, but there's a lot of hanger-oners.
Yep.
Hanger-oners.
Yep.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of people who just kind of latch on and just kind of suck them dry, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Every celebrity has talked about running into people like that.
Yep. And even like Justin Bieber was talking out about like trying to help Billie Eilish. Like he was like reaching out to her, like, don't you dare don't let them consume you, in this industry, stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, a lot of people being a young artist that it takes its toll. We hear about it all the time.
Yeah. Well, sticking with our weird music mumbles
This
theme,
is a weird one.
we got another weird one. Here we go.
So, everybody has heard about it. We haven't really mentioned it here before, but I felt like this was worth mentioning. Sean Diddy Combs accused of violating jail rules. This comes to us from musicnews.com. Sean Diddy Combs has been accused of attempting to influence a potential jury. The new allegations come after the disgraced star applied for bail again on the 8th of November. Prosecutors have claimed the 55-year-old has attempted to evade law enforcement monitoring and corruptly influence witness testimony while he's behind bars at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. In court documents obtained by People, prosecutors have accused Combs of using other inmates' phone access using a non-authorized third-party message service to communicate with multiple people and using his children for a social media campaign for his recent birthday. The defendant enlisted family members to plan and execute a social media campaign around the defendant's birthday with the intention of influencing the potential jury in this criminal proceeding, the document claimed.
Yeah, and I have some questions about that. Like, what was the social media campaign? Was just like, hey guys, if you're on the jury, please don't find him guilty. Like, how are you influencing
It was
people?
probably just trying to paint him like a super nice guy, like him with his kids, like photo, happy birthday, dad, like all of them, like probably posting like, I'll never forget when I was young and
Sure,
dad did-"
sure.
And I guarantee that was it. He's like, you got to sell it, guys, that I am the best.
Well, I don't know, man.
I think that's where my brain goes.
I mean,
to.
it's against rules. Obviously, he was, using a bunch of different ways of communication.
Yeah,
because
because he's restricted.
I get that. It feels like a long shot to me. Like, I just don't know if you'd be able to convince people of anything. There's documentaries already out of just like, look at the horrible things you've done. Like, is your social media presence gonna turn the tide on this one?
This is a sad attempt, but this is definitely his doing for sure. I believe that. So it says at the defendant's carefully curated direction, the defendant's children posted a video, here we go, to their respective social media accounts showing the defendant's children gathered to celebrate the defendant's birthday. The document alleges that Combs monitored the analytics of the social media footage and explicitly discussed with his family how to ensure that the video had his desired effect on potential jury members in this case. Combs is awaiting trial.
I wonder if they were like tagging the jury members or something,
or at least doing something. Because when you make like a sponsored post, you can put in certain hot like hashtags and stuff in there, so you could put like jury trial, stuff like that.
I want to know the details of like how they would lock that.
And you
down.
would never even see it. Like I could curate a sponsored post on Facebook to direct to anything I want with anything I want, and you would never know. It's cool. Huh. It's crazy, but that's truly how you can do it.
Well, there you
go. Combs is awaiting trial after being charged with sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He has pleaded not guilty to all the charges.
Transportation to engage in prostitution. Is that driving yourself to prostitutes or picking up prostitutes, or like hiring a car to pick up prostitutes?
Probably picking up at least. Like you have to at least pick them up. They have to catch you doing it.
Well, I'm just saying, like, what counts as... it's a weird charge. I mean, either way. Bad guy.
I just can't stop but think of South Park. Give me that evidence bag.
Yeah. South Park always, they're always vicious. They definitely go scorched earth on everything like that. But, yeah, I guess another South Park reference. Diddy did it.
Diddy did it.
Diddy did it. Well, that is this week's Music Mumbles.
Remember that guy? Remember that gal? Well, now they're dead.
Paul Teal, actor on One Tree Hill, dies at 35. This comes to us from NBCnews.com. Paul Teal, a TV and stage actor who appeared on shows including One Tree Hill, died Friday in Raleigh,
North Carolina.
You don't
know NC?
It took me a second. I'm like, why can't I think of what NC means? Anyways, he was 35. Teal's death was confirmed by a representative for the actor, with the cause of death revealed as cancer.
Ugh.
Emilia Torello, Teal's partner, shared with TMZ that he had been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer in April. The news was first broken by Torello after she shared more about the actor's death online. "You were my soulmate, my soon-to-be husband, my rock, and my future," Torello wrote in a post on Instagram. "You were taken too soon in a battle that you fought bravely without fail. While a part of me died with you, I promised to fight to find joy in life as hard as you fight to live every single day, as much as you fought to live every single day." The dynamic young actor's credits also include Descendants, The Rise of Red, Fear Street Part 2, George and Tammy, and The Walking Dead, World Beyond. Paul Teal, you will be missed.
Yeah. And I wasn't overly familiar with his work, but it's like anytime anyone's taken away so soon, it's rough. And it sucks because it seems like, she said that was his fiance. I mean, she sounds like she really loved the guy. So, I mean, I hope that in his 35 years, he had a great time. You know what I mean? That's all we could hope for is the people that go too soon, that they had a hell of a ride. What
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln has a quote, and I remember when our buddy died, and he died young. He died at 24. I put this out there, and it was the quote was from Abraham Lincoln. Believe it or not,
I remember
it was
you and I found that.
yeah, and it was not. It was the year. It's not the years that you live that matter. It's the amount of life in your years.
That's right.
Is the quote, I think.
Yep, not the years in your life that matter, it's the life in your years. That's right.
So, this guy, Paul Teal, you will be missed. I tip my hat to you, sir. Earthlink Entertainment headlines.
Sophie Turner reportedly in line to play Lara Croft in Prime Video's Tomb Raider series.
Woo!
This comes to us from IGN.com.
All right, before we begin, I am a big Tomb Raider fan. I have all the original Top Cow comics. They ran 50 issues, and I played the games, love it. And I remember the first film I ever snuck out of school and saw during a weekday at the mall was Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie.
Did it live up to the hype?
No. I mean, in retrospect, I liked it because I was a big fan of her because I was a young man at the time. But the movies were never great. The Alicia Vikander movie that came out a few years ago was pretty good.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. So if you're gonna watch a Tomb Raider movie, watch the remake or this new series. Continue with the story.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge's Tomb Raider series on Prime Video appears to be on the verge of casting Sophie Turner as its Lara Croft. Deadline reports that Turner is currently in negotiations to star as the famous video game heroine, who has previously been portrayed by Angelina Jolie and Alicia Vikander. Sophie Turner is best known for her role as Sansa Stark in Game of Thrones, though she has also played Jean Grey in X-Men, Dark Phoenix, and X-Men Apocalypse. Officially announced earlier this year, Prime Video's live-action Tomb Raider series is the latest attempt to adapt the seminal action-adventure series starring world-famous archaeologist and adventurer Lara Croft. Waller-Bridges is the show's writer and executive producer, having found fame for her work as the star and creator of Fleabag. There's room to do something really quite dangerous.
And this is a quote from her.
Waller-Bridge previously said, "And if I can do something dangerous and exciting with Tomb Raider, I already have an audience of people who love Lara and hopefully will continue to." And that is a very unusual position to be in. It's the old Trojan horse. Other than that brief tease, however, we know little about the approach the Amazon show will be taking to Lara Croft, with Turner's potential casting being the most substantial development thus far. Recently, Netflix aired its own anime take on Tomb Raider with Hayley Atwell voicing the lead character. We will have to wait and see, but the new show seems to be starting on a foot.
On a good foot, I think they
It
just
just
missed the
says
word
on
good.
a foot.
It is starting on a foot.
On a foot. It
Um,
is starting on a foot.
So Hayley Atwell, if you don't know, plays Captain Carter. She is Sharon Carter from the Marvel Universe, the one that Captain America ends up with at the end of Endgame, and
Okay.
like from the original Captain America movie. Love Hayley Atwell. She did a really good job. I wasn't a huge fan of Netflix's animated series, but I liked her as Lara. I'm not sure how I feel about Sophie Turner. I mean, she is British, and I hope they don't keep her. I want her hair to be brunette because I have a very particular idea of who Lara Croft is. But at the end of the day, Phoebe Waller-Bridge is a good writer, and she has done good work, and I think it should be a lot of fun. Here's the thing, though. You got to do the adventure right. Because too many people focus on, all right, she's attractive, great. So let's just show her like doing things like climbing mountains or working out or like fighting because people want to see like her doing a thing. That's great. Laura's great. But I want to see the Indiana Jones aspect. I want to see real tomb raiding. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like give me an actual thing like we're going into these crypts in Peru or something. I don't know.
You want the story to grab you, not just a pretty lady.
I'm just saying, if you want to, she has been around since 1997, the character, and the character's always had very big breasts. So the sexualization of that character has been around for more than 20 years. So if all you want to see is a hot Lara Croft, Google it. It's very easy. I've been there. I've done that. Now I want to see a good adventure with the character. Give me the female Indiana Jones, which I was promised in all these adaptations, but actually only received in the first couple games.
With Sansa Stark. I'm excited for that. Actually, I like her, so I loved her as Sansa. So
I haven't seen her in a lot. Like, I mean, Game of Thrones, of course.
that and X-Men. That's
Great
all
job.
I know.
Yeah, but I
That's
don't
honestly
know.
all I know.
She was in a rom-com pretty recently. That was like a time travel rom-com with Asa Butterfield, I think. That was pretty good.
Okay. Well, I think that brings us to
Headline number 2.
Stephen King announces new book, Never Flinch, shares exclusive excerpt.
Yes.
This comes to us from entertainmentweekly.com. Stephen King has long been the master of horror, and he returns with another terrifying read, Never Flinch.
He is actually my favorite author. Not just saying that. I have literally every book he's ever written
He really
in
does.
some form or another.
Which will hit shelves on May 27th, 2025. Entertainment Weekly has exclusively shared the first excerpt of the novel on their site. It's told from the perspective of the mysterious Trig, a man with vengeance on his mind. Never Flinch features intertwining storylines, one about a killer on a diabolical revenge mission, and another about a vigilante stalking a feminist celebrity speaker. The novel features a host of familiar characters, including King's beloved Holly Gibney and gospel singer Sista Bessie, as well as riveting new faces that include a villain addicted to the murder.
Addicted to murder.
Yeah,
He's
who's
addicted to murder. Like,
he's addicted to murder.
Murder. Love that shit.
When the
That is a villain.
Yes. When the Buckeye City Police Department receives a disturbing letter from a person threatening to kill 13 innocents and 1 guilty in an act of atonement for the needless death of an innocent man, Detective Izzy Janes has no idea what to think, reads this book's description. Are 14 citizens about to be slaughtered in an unhinged act of retribution? As the investigation unfolds, Izzy realizes that the letter is deadly serious. The letter writer is deadly serious, and she turns to her friend Holly Gibney for help.
Yeah, so you gotta take that seriously, especially if you're a cop.
Meanwhile, controversial and outspoken activist Kate McKay is embarking on a multi-state lecture tour, drawing packed venues of both fans and detractors. It continues, someone who vehemently opposes Kate's message and is targeting her and disrupting her events. At first, no one is hurt, but the stalker is growing bolder, and Holly is hired to be Kate's bodyguard. A challenging task with a headstrong employer and a determined adversary driven by wrath and his belief in his own righteousness. Eventually, the twin narratives converge, resulting in a spectacular, chilling climax. Check out the excerpt on Entertainment Weekly's website for your first taste of Never Flinch.
Yes. Well, I think Stephen King is a wonderful writer. I haven't loved all of his books though, and I'm not sure how much I'm gonna like this one because I like when things get a little bit more supernatural. But sometimes he tricks you and things seem normal and then turn out not to be. My favorite thing so far, I think Tommy Knockers, Under the Dome, obviously It and The Stand. Those are like my favorite
Mine
Stephen King
has to
books.
be Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
I like that one. I like The Institute.
The Institute was really good. That was a more recent one that I really liked. Yeah.
Other than that, I love The Stand. The Stand was wonderful.
You know, I was surprised when I looked it up that The Stand was like a really early book. Like it was one of his like fifth or sixth book, and considering he's written like 80, that's pretty good.
And it's enormous. It's insane. It was I had the full version. It was 47 and a half hours
On Audible?
On Audible, yes.
Yeah, the only thing that rivals it is it as far as length. I mean,
Wow.
Dreamcatcher was pretty big, but it was no The Stand.
So that brings us to
Well, that brings us to a very fascinating headline. I don't know how I feel about it. What do you think, Ryan? Let's jump in.
Idle Hands remake. Devon Sawa gives his blessing. This comes to us from Fangoria.com. Recently, we got a bit of unexpected news as it came to light that Sony Pictures is working on a remake of the 90s cult classic horror comedy Idle Hands,
One of my favorite movies.
with Finn Wolfhard of Stranger Things and Billy Brick of Hell of a Summer set to write and possibly direct this new take on the film. This was a surprise. So how does Devon Sawa, the star of the original film, feel about it? It seems the actor has nothing but well wishes for the two young filmmakers shepherding the project.
Shepherding.
Shepherding.
To be
Shepherding.
fair, they're both like the same thing, but I just think it's funny.
Yep. I totally said that's fuck it. It's shepherding. Sawa didn't seem to know in advance. Apparently, I'm having an off day. Didn't know in advance that this was coming and reacted to the news in real time on social media, taking to Twitter. The star of Final Destination and Chucky wished luck upon Wolfhard and Brick, who are tackling the project for Sony Pictures alongside Jason Reitman,
Reitman.
who
It's
is
important.
producing the film.
Jason Reitman is the guy who did the new Ghostbusters. He also did the Moon. He did a bunch of good stuff. He just did Saturday Night, and he's the son of the original Ghostbusters director. So, you know,
Nice.
just saying.
I mean, if anyone's going to do it, better be them two fine lads. Good luck, fellas, Sawa said on Twitter in response to the news. It was a classy move on Sawa's part. Directed by Rodman Flender, Idle Hands starred Sawa, who was a rising star at the time, and Seth Green, who was also coming up in Hollywood.
Love Seth Green.
It also featured Jessica Alba in one of her earliest roles,
It's true.
along with the legend known as...
Vivica A. Fox.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, Jessica Alba, that was the first time I remember seeing her at all. And yeah, I don't think there was anyone who was more attractive at that time when that movie came out for me personally as a young man.
Yeah.
I will say that movie just blew me away because they did the zombie makeup with Seth Green, his other friend. And there's so much about it I love, which is why I'm going to probably hate the remake, but I'm going to give it a chance.
Yeah, we'll see. For those who may need a refresher, in the film, Anton Tobias, played by Devon Sawa, is a channel surfing, junk food munching, couch potato burnout who can't control the murderous impulses of his recently possessed hand. With the help of his zombified buddies, Mick, played by Seth Green, and Pina, played by Alden Henson,
Foggy from Daredevil.
That's right. Anton's got to stop the rampaging devil appendage before it takes control of his life and ruins any chance that he has with the class hottie Molly, played by Jessica Alba. The Idle Hands remake does not currently have a release date.
That movie was about his hand killing people, like viciously being a serial killer, so much so that they implied that like he killed people without even knowing he killed people. Like when the movie starts, there was two twins that worked at a fast food place that he apparently murdered, and his parents. And I don't know if he was asleep. Now that I think about it, I'm not sure how that worked. But then the hand he realizes is causing all the mischief, and spoiler for Idle Hand, he cuts it off, and then we got the guy who played Thing in the original, not the original, the 90s Addams Family, the guy who did the motion for the hand, he played the hand from Idle Hand too.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
He's a hand actor.
Evidently. I like that. So
Ryan, how do you feel about it, man? Like, did you like that original one?
I love the original. It was like one of those classic movies, you know what I mean, that I feel like I remember when Comedy Central used to play it. Like I remember it would be on. I think that's how I watched it. And then you
So
actually
you didn't even get to see the good version.
right. I don't think I watched it for real until like you and I were hanging, and I think you popped it in and we watched it. But like other than that, no, it was a great movie. I think I didn't necessarily miss out on it completely, but yeah, I kind of did. I only saw the chopped up for TV version of it.
I
first.
just remember when that movie came out, it got me into The Offspring too.
Oh, that's right, they do play.
Yeah, The Offspring play in the third act at the school Halloween dance, and also that same year, I believe there was the night 80 on Next Stole Christmas, which was a radio station in Detroit, and they had a Christmas show every year. That was the first time I got to see The Offspring live, or it might have been my first concert period, honestly. And I just remember Offspring had an intermission. So they had this big fat guy and a sumo wrestler come out, and he's in the straight up sumo wrestler guard, and he puts down a little bubble machine, and the bubbles start blowing, and then music starts playing, and it's like dun 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 dun, and the guy's waving his hands to the beat, dun 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 dun, intermission. Dun 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 dun, and they just did that for I don't know, like 5 minutes for the the band to go get a drink of water, do whatever they do. But it was such a long show that they instead of like cutting their short, they did that intermission. I thought this is genius,
Dude, I literally just saw Modest Mouse the other day, and they did an intermission. It was brilliant. They had like all the screens on stage being like intermission.
There you go, right?
Like it's brilliant. Why don't all bands do this? Like
we should bring back intermissions.
I think so too. Even especially in movies. Now that you're making me have to sit there for over 2 hours, give me a spot to pee.
Movies used to have intermissions, man.
They used to.
Yeah, I think Quentin Tarantino put an intermission in what was it? Something
I think
the
it was
eight ways to die in the West or whatever the hell it was.
Was it Kill Bill?
No, it was
No.
it was the snowy one. The one in the snow. They did like a
Oh!
3 hour or like they did like a 4 episode cut on Netflix
The
of
Hateful Eight.
it. The Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Eight
a good
Ways
one.
to Die in the West is a cross between
A
Seth
Thousand
Rogen-
Ways to
yeah,
Die
yeah.
in the Old West. That movie's funny. as
Very
fuck.
different
That
films.
movie is so funny. I love that fucking movie.
Oh man.
Speaking of other movies I love,
Jumping into headline number 4.
Star Wars loses the battle to new Ice Age movie in 2026 slate.
They lost the wars.
to scratch the squirrel. This comes to us from Collider.com. Throughout countless movies and shows, the heroes of Star Wars have faced every manner of evil possible, but not even Rey Skywalker, played by Daisy Ridley, is a match against the franchise's most powerful foe yet, Sid the Sloth.
Yeah.
In a not surprising move, Disney has announced that it is pulling an untitled Star Wars film that was set for December 18th, 2026 release date. The slot will now be filled by Ice Age 6, which was recently officially revealed at D23 in Brazil.
Yeah, no, D23 is a convention they do, and they usually do it in the United States, but they also do this Brazil one, and I wasn't taking the Brazil one seriously, but a lot of announcements have come out of this Brazil D23, so I had to pay more attention.
Details around the Star Wars film that was pulled from release are slim, with not even its title being known. It could be any of the previously announced upcoming theatrical Star Wars projects, of which there are shockingly over a dozen of.
Like I keep saying.
Regardless, polls from a release schedule are often not a great sign. While the film was untitled, some of the speculated that the pull Star Wars film is the standalone Rey Skywalker film, which would pick up after the events of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. The film has lost several screenwriters since being announced, with the likes of Damon Lindelof and Stephen Knight departing with the project. The Rey Skywalker film was one of 3 projects recently announced by Lucasfilm, which also include a prequel film from James Mangold and a New Republic film from Dave Filoni. This doesn't even include all the other announced projects of films from Rian Johnson,
Taika Waititi.
thank you, Sean Levy, and more, all of which have received little to no updates since their announcements. The next Star Wars films that are set to hit theaters is The Mandalorian and Grogu, which debuts on May 22nd, 2026.
Yeah, so I'd be surprised if Mandalorian and Grogu doesn't come out because they did finish filming it, so that's probably happening. But like we've mentioned before on this show, they keep announcing movies and they haven't made any of them. Ryan Johnson was going to make a trilogy. That was like the first thing, and that was right after episode 8 because Disney was sure that episode 8 was going to be such a hit, and they were like, Ryan Johnson, we're going to give you a trilogy. So when it was divisive, suddenly that quietly went away. I do remember the Taika Waititi one, and that was when he was doing all the Thor stuff. So Thor Ragnarok hits, and they're like, all right, Taika Waititi, you're our man for Star Wars. Then Thor Love and Thunder comes out, and suddenly, ooh, that didn't do well. So now Taika Waititi's movie disappears. Kevin Feige was going to do one, and it just keeps on going. And the bottom line is, people were so unsure of the new trilogy that Lucasfilm has had cold feet about everything. They don't know what to do and they don't want to fail. And every time they keep doing something, people are getting more and more angry for various reasons, and they're not pleasing their fans. So they're just so worried. I feel like a lot of these ideas that they're like, that's not good enough for a movie, are the shows that are coming out. And it's just, it's a really rough position to be in if you are a Star Wars fan of the franchise. And I also imagine it's a rough place to be in if you're the people in charge. You know, the only reason why we're actually getting a Grogu and Mandalorian movie is because the show did well. So they're like, oh, the movie will do well because the show did well. It's a sure thing. They're just so freaking scared to like pull the trigger. And it's ugh, it makes me mad.
It is a sure thing. I will agree with that. I'm excited for it. I can't believe we still have to wait that long. It's been so long since season 3 wrapped, it feels like.
Well,
It was just last year, I guess. But
I don't know if it is a sure thing. I just know they think it's a sure thing.
Right. And yeah, it's like, where do you go from here, right? Like they tried Acolyte and that didn't do so well. They try, they're I'm excited for the new one, Skeleton Crew, because that seems like a fresh take. Like, just come up with a good story and just put it in the Star Wars universe. There's so much lore and everything. It should make itself at that point, as long as the story is good.
I mean, honestly, if you want to do something to not piss anyone off, in my opinion, do something, move forward, don't go backwards. Go do something 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 years in the future. You can completely change the entire universe in
Yes.
10,000 years, but do it in the future and make people like Luke Skywalker or Rey Skywalker or whatever you want to do. Make them be almost like Hercules
Like a
and like
legend,
Zeus. Yeah, no, but not even a legend. Like something that people, it was so long ago that a god we don't even worship anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like
I do,
how
yeah.
how Norse mythology is looked at by most scholars. How it's just that kind of thing where it's like, make the old Republic be the movies we've seen and jump into the future. That's all I'm thinking.
I agree with that. I would be down with that. I think that there's good stuff coming because, like I said, the lore is there. There's just so much good stuff to be told, stuff that you can make up, make a great story, put it in Star Wars. It'll work for me.
I mean, the bottom line is there is a force, and some use it for good, and some use it for evil. And the names of those people who wield that power can change. Their belief structures can change, but it's always going to be a like a checkerboard, black and red. It's always going to be black and white. It's always going to be opposites. It's the that's what it is. It's the balance of you need the bad with the good. You need the good with the bad. Is there good without bad? Is there bad without good? And what is the gray in between? I mean, that's what boils down to Star Wars. Then you get a Messiah character, whether, guy, girl, whatever, you pick them up from obscurity, where, an ocean planet, desert planet, whatever you want to do. And they're somehow the savior of the universe. And it's all an allegory for Messiah character. I mean, that's all you need to do.
With just like a little mix of space politics. These people want to rule everything. These people don't want them to rule everything.
Everyone jokes that there's too much politics in the prequels, but I argue that like Game of Thrones had a lot of politics. It's all about how you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you did some crazy murderous Game of Thrones thing, that'd be dope.
Yeah. No, yeah. There's a lot to do there, and I have a feeling that Dave Filoni will come through. I have faith in
Dave
Filoni.
Filoni.
Faith in Filoni.
I do. I do like Dave Filoni. He pretty much gets a pass because Rebels. I just really like Rebels.
Oh, yeah. Well, and you know who else we definitely love a man named Kevin Smith.
Ah, the wonderful filmmaker from New Jersey. That young Smith boy.
Kevin Smith is making Dogma 2.
What?
This comes to us from Nerdist.com. Kevin Smith, who has made 3 Clerks movies and more Jay and Silent Bob films than you realize, is
It's actually
running.
not true. He only made 2 Jay and Silent Bob movies.
Right. But I mean, they're
They're trying to be clever, but they're wrong. They're wrong, Ryan.
is running it back yet again, Joe. But we're not even talking about his potential Mallrats follow-up.
Twilight of the
Twilight
Mallrats.
of the Mallrats either.
Yeah, that got derailed because Shannon Doherty died.
Oh, yeah. So the View Askewniverse creator is working on a totally different sequel to another one of his signature films. Smith has revealed he's writing a screenplay for Dogma 2. And despite God herself yeeting their characters out of existence in the original film, he said the follow-up will bring back Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's Angels.
I mean, it makes sense that you would because they're the most identifiable people from that film.
Yeah. While speaking at the Vulture Festival, Smith revealed he's returning to another one of his old IPs. Now that he finally owns the rights to his 1999 film Dogma, he's writing a sequel. He said
All this time, Harvey Weinstein has had control, so it's nice that he got the rights back.
it is nice. He said he's doing so despite people telling him not to effing touch it, because he'll, quote, ruin it. Smith said he will because he found a way in to continue the story. That way in apparently includes a way to bring back Affleck and Damon's disgraced angels, Bartleby and Loki. Expect a cameo from them. More than a fucking cameo, Smith said. The only way we get Dogma sequel made is if they're there. So count on those guys being there.
It's true, though, because despite what you feel about Kevin Smith's newer movies, he usually gets everyone he's ever worked with for like one scene. And
Yep.
while I don't mind that, it's very noticeable in films like Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, and it's very noticeable even in the 4:30 movie that
Clerks
it's like,
3.
sure, and it's fine. I just want more of a character. And if you're going to do a Dogma 2, I do think if you're going to bring the Bartleby and Loki back, those angels, they can't just be for one scene. You know, I recently watched a straight-to-video sequel, Half-Baked, Totally High, I think it was. And it was a sequel to Half-Baked. And they got back the character of Kenny, one of the main characters from the original film. But he was literally in one scene before they even had the title of the
Yep.
film pop up. And it feels cheap. It feels
Yeah.
cheap. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Either don't have them in it or have them be in it. I don't
Right.
want them for one scene.
I agree. So will bringing back Bartleby and Loki violate in the infallible word of God? Arguably the single biggest plot point of Dogma? Maybe, but maybe that will be the entire point of the film. We'll have to wait and see to find out how that will work. That's also true of the entire movie. Smith also said Dogma 2 will be less of a traditional straight sequel and more of a companion piece. Whatever that means.
Yeah, see that also bothers me because it's like it seems like you're starting out wanting to make a straight to video sequel instead of a proper. Don't say you're not going to make a proper sequel. If you're going to do that, then just re-release the DVD and have like an hour-long little epilogue fun thing.
Like I hope this doesn't sound like derogatory. It's like I feel like he's like the comic book Adam Sandler, where he just keeps bringing back all of his friends like to everything, you know.
It's a little different, I think, but
Where like Adam Sandler's kind of like the sports geek, and he's like a comic book geek.
sure.
You know, like for now, only God herself and Kevin Smith know what the hell that actually means. But you don't need to be a supreme deity to realize that someday we'll probably be telling you about Chasing Amy 2.
Ooh, actually, all jokes aside, I don't think he would ever touch Chasing Amy too.
I don't think so.
Very
either.
divisive topic.
Yeah.
But Dogma, dude, I've been waiting to see a new version of Dogma because in the early 2000s you can get DVD releases, but it's pretty much been, we've talked about it before, impossible to find. And now that he has retained the rights, they are going to re-release it, and it's going to find a streaming home, and we'll actually be able to see Dogma without spending $80 on a letterbox version from eBay.
Yes, and obviously, I don't have any way to watch physical media, so I need him to start streaming it. I hope he streams it soon.
Ryan says he has no way to watch physical media. I have lent him a Blu-ray player with
I do
all the
have it.
cords
I have it.
and a Blu-ray that we were supposed to review. We were supposed to review this Blu-ray almost a full year ago.
Almost. Yeah.
I gave it to him,
You
I
did,
think,
yeah.
December or January, and it was
somewhere around there. Yeah.
it was a Star Wars documentary about the
was.
creation
It
of
was.
the holiday special.
Yep, that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ryan, have you seen that film?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I do have it.
I know it's my DVD.
Yeah, you gave it to me. Yeah,
No, I
you
did
didn't
not
give it to
give
me.
it-
You lent it
I
to me.
basically gave it to you, but I didn't realize I gave it to you.
I am holding it hostage.
That's right. Like a true friend.
I'm just saying.
At least I know when I get it back, there won't be a scratch on it.
No, maybe a little bit of dust on the cover, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Oh, guys. And with that, that brings us to the end of our show. Thank you so much for listening. And hey, guys, seriously, if you like the show, download the episode. Best way to support us. You want a bumper sticker, hit us up at Earthling Entertainment Podcast at gmail.com. You could also hit us up on Facebook. We have a TikTok. We have, that's about it. Don't hit us up on X. We don't have control of that account because we lost the password.
I did make a new one, but at the same time, it's just like I don't know how to do it. So you're welcome to follow us there. I do post for every week there, but
I think we're gonna make a Blue Sky probably, which is the new Twitter, or Threads, which is the new Twitter. It's funny. It's like Coke and Pepsi. Like which Twitter clone will win?
right. Like last time I checked into our Twitter, I think like some tumbleweeds went by. Like I'm not even kidding. Like I don't know how to crack that code.
Don't know how to crack that
I
code.
don't know, but
We also have an Instagram.
we do, and we've got a TikTok as well. We do post there. Earthling Entment, the short version of entertainment. And but my friends, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to share this podcast with a coworker, with a friend, with a loved one, with a fellow Earthling.
Yes. Oh, and just a quick reminder: next week in our entertainment section, the latter half, if you will, of our show, we will have our second Tattered Tales. Ooh. So, looking forward to that. And everyone here at Earthling Entertainment would like to say, see ya.
Goodbye.
Who's doing what? I don't know. You do the second one. Okay. Earthling Entertainment Special Report. Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese will executive produce. Scorsese. Skorska. Professor Skorska and the magical nymphs of Fuck You.
Want me to do the special report? The
Yeah,
intro?
you can if you want.
I'll try.
Earthling Entertainment Special Report. Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese will executive produce a 10-episode Cape Fear TV series for Apple TV Plus.
Lady Gaga has just been
Wait,
cast.
how was it? I wasn't done. You have to let me do my
I
thing.
thought we were doing the quick.
No.
Oh.
I mean, I
You try it
can't
again?
do that one that quick.
All right,
You want me to try
I'll
to do it
wait.
quick? All right,
All right.
fuck it. We'll do it quick.
You want
But
to
we
do it
still
quick?
have to, if we do it quick, we gotta do the numbers. We gotta do 1, 2.
Okay.
Ready?
Ready.
Earthling Entertainment Special Report. Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese will executive produce a 10-episode Cape Fear series for Apple TV Plus.
Number 2, Lady Gaga has just been cast in Wednesday season 2.
Number 3, Conan O'Brien is gonna host the 97th Oscars Awards.
It's
This
been
has
an
a special
Earthling.
report. Special report, bitches.
And you did say Scorsese again.
Scorsese.
Scorsese.
All right.
But I can't give you shit. I'm normally the one who fucks that up.
No. You've dropped your pen. The world now will fall into darkness. We are truly in the darkest timeline because the pen has been dropped. Let's do this again. I'm gonna. So I'll do the first special report. You do the outro. Okay. Earthling Entertainment Special Report. Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese will executive produce a 10-episode Cape Fear TV series for Apple TV+. Number 2, Lady Gaga has just been cast in Wednesday Season 2. Number 3, Conan O'Brien will host the 97th Oscar Award ceremony. Whoa. This has been an Earthling Entertainment Special Report. Special report? It's so fudgin' special. It is. Fudge. Unrelated. I like pistachio. That should kill people. You want to try it again, or are we good? I think that was great. All right. I don't think it'll get better than that. That was good. Hi, Pogo.